Yo, what is up everybody? Jumpin here, and today I am back on some Diablo 4. This is the season of the Loot Reborn, and I actually got the Uber chest piece, the brand new one, Tyrael's Might. I'm going to put it up on the screen so you can take a look at it and look at the stats. The first thing you're going to notice is the damage. It's kind of low, that's what I thought. Because my friend told me what this did, and I immediately thought, wow, that sounds amazing. But then when I actually got it, I looked at the damage and I thought, man, that's really not that high. And the reality is, I do think the damage of this thing absolutely falls off. It reminds me of the staff. If you've ever gotten that and played with that, you will know that it can fall off because when AOZ was out, I remember like after a certain tier, like tier 10, the staff completely fell off. So it's going to be the same thing with this chest piece in terms of its damage. Now, I have taken it off, and I've done runs, and I gotta say, my build is not the best. It is not completely min-maxed. I've tried to work it out a little bit, and yet, when I take the chest piece off, I do feel a DPS drop, just personally. Now, if I had a super min-max build, maybe I would not feel that way. The other thing about this chest piece, which is the reason why I actually think it's good, is the defensive value of what it gives you. It is amazing defensively, mainly because you can get a bunch of free resistance, which can free up a lot of your Paragon, maybe give you a little bit more damage in the Paragon, or more health, something that you might need, armor maybe. But also, it increases your maximum cap of your resistance up to 85%. If you target this with the Masterwork, I'm pretty sure it can probably get up to at least 15% once it's fully Masterworked out. Now that's really interesting because at 85% resistance, and if you have the armor, you'll have 85% physical damage reduction. And guess what? With this setup I have, this is my Necro tank setup. And the chest piece is kind of perfect for it, just because it gives me all that extra defensive value that I need. Mainly the DR and that increased cap of resistance. When I've taken this chest piece off, I have definitely felt it in terms of me dying. Now, the whole idea of my build here is to try to keep my shield up 100% of the time, and I use flicker steps to do that. You're going to see at the very end too, I'm going to fight a 108 tier boss, and I'm just face tanking it. And right there, for example, if I did not have this chest piece, I'd be dead. I know that for a fact. That's a crazy thing that must have hit me, and it absolutely chunked me. I'm not very good. I can't dodge everything. I don't even see some of it. So I like to be able to kind of face tank it, or at least if I have to move around, I know that I can take some hits, and I'm not going to just get one-shotted if I do get hit. And that's the thing I love about this barrier on the Necromancer. The Necromancer, in my opinion, just has the best barrier in the game. And it's insane. And it works well with the chest piece because this chest piece requires you to have full health. So it's really good on the Sorcerer. I tried it on that with Frozen Orb, and it was amazing for mobbing. But then that build is just so bad at bossing. One thing to keep in mind about this chest piece. You're getting a lot of extra critical hits, which can play into builds or healing potentially. It can also play into lucky hits. That's another big thing you can consider with this. I'm pretty sure that these artilleries are absolutely getting lucky hits. Now, by the way, I guess I should have said it right away, but I'm going to point it out. I do have the Holy Elixir on as well. So I'm using that because it's completely busted and broken on the Necromancer. And as you're trying to grind gear and everything like that to max out your build, feel no shame in using it. I don't know, some people are like, oh, I don't use it. You are probably using that to get up to the high tiers, and then once you have your build together, yeah, I don't need it no more. I'm just saying, it is really good with this chest piece, at least it looks cool. Now this is the Helltide, and this is interesting. You can legit just kill everything by raising skeletons on this Necromancer. It is hilarious. And then, what I'm showing here, that is Iron Maiden. Now, that has no cost, so I can just spam it. And one thing about these curses is that they actually have a really good artillery effect. And some moves have crazy artillery effects. So keep that in mind when it comes to this chest piece. An example would be Lizard on the Sorcerer. Really good with artillery, and it should be really good with this chest piece. One thing about this build that I'm using is I want it to be really tanky, because since I'm really kind of bad at the game, I can essentially just tank my way through everything, and then the Holy Elixir will just delete stuff for me, including bosses. It's completely busted, guys. Use it to do what I'm doing if you are struggling. Necromancer is amazing this season, and honestly, I will come out with a build video for this, like a more in-depth, obviously, build video, but I need to tweak it and masterwork it properly, which I haven't yet. I think the chest piece is fantastic. If you get this, I would keep it. I would not turn it in so that you can get another one. But I also would say you might not want to just craft it unless you want to try it for something different and new. Because if there is better options for your build in terms of damage or something, I would probably go with that. But just keep this chest piece in mind. Because if you are struggling and you can't get enough DR, this can give you a ton of DR, like 15, 17%, I don't know. Once it's fully masterwork, it's going to be a lot of DR. And it's going to give you that increased resistance, which is more DR against the worst thing in the game, which is elements. And all of the crap that you have to deal with. This is a 108 here. And I am getting completely wrecked and hit all the time. And I can tell you right now, if I did not have this chest piece, I will be dead. There is no doubt. I'm getting hit by giant Lilith attacks that will suck you in and murder you in one shot. I've seen it on so many people, and also it has happened to me. It's happened to me a lot. In fact, I did die in this. But I can face tank so much with this. It is amazing. So defensively, I'm telling you, this chest piece is really good. And I would recommend it. About tier 90 up, I would say the damage completely falls off, I would imagine. These bosses are insane. You have to run a build that can kill these bosses. You cannot run Frozen Orb, which was what I was doing. The Sorcerer is so flimsy compared to the Necro, it's ridiculous. This Necro barrier is an example of what barriers should be. If you don't know, the Golem gets the Bone Storm. So if you have the aspect on, you're getting 12% pretty much per hit, per enemy, all the time. And it's so hard for the enemies to take down this barrier. It's not the biggest barrier ever, it's probably about 10k. But that's still amazing compared to the Sorcerer. Alrighty guys, that's going to do it for the video. If you've thought about crafting this, or if you've gotten it and you're wondering should you scrap it or not, I hope that this has helped. Please like the video for me, subscribe for future videos, and thank you so much for watching, and peace out.